What is up, geeks and geekettes? It's another edition of the Countdown City Geekcast. My name is Ted, aka Steady, and joining me on this live stream is the one, the only host of the Star Wars Stuff podcast, David, Lord of all Age. I
That is
love it.
me, boys.
I love it.
I am the Lord of Hall H.
That is amazing. That is amazing. We got so much to talk about tonight. It's
Got the
almost
keychain to prove it.
it's almost unfathomable how we're going to talk about all of the stuff that we've been kind of experiencing over the last, I don't know, 6 months, maybe 7 months. It's been a pretty good run for us. I'm not going to lie. Um, a lot has happened. And before we get to our adventures and all that stuff, I do want to remind folks that in just over 2 months, one of the biggest events in the country is happening. It is SpaceCon SA. You are having the Star Wars trifecta in the Alamo City, in San Antonio, October 25th through the 27th. Ewan McGregor, Hayden Christensen, Rosario Dawson are all going to be in attendance. You also have several cast members from the Ahsoka series, cast members from The Mandalorian, cast members from Star Trek projects, like Star Trek Strange New Worlds. You have, oh my gosh, so many folks. William Shatner is going to be in attendance. So many iconic individuals, and they're all going to be here October 25th through 27th. Get your tickets today at www.spacecon.sa.com. Now, Dave, I know you've actually been to several Star Wars celebrations, so there's a few folks you've already met. Who have you not met that you're excited to meet? I want to ask you that right now.
I'm really excited to meet Iman Esfandi, who played Ezra Bridger in the live-action Ahsoka, and I'm really excited to meet Natasha Liu Bordizzo. I'm a fan of hers. She played Sabine. I was lucky to meet Ahmed Best in Dallas a couple months ago. Super cool guy, really big guy. Kind of surprised me. To me, he has like the build of like an NFL cornerback. So, um, super cool, super nice. I actually heard him talk a little bit about his life outside of Hollywood, Star Wars. He does a lot, man. I was like really kind of shocked. It's like not on his bio anywhere, but um, I'm always that person thinking that he should be in every like Star Wars project if he's not like a background actor or like in a droid costume or something. But the dude's really busy, so it's great that he's able to come down to San Antonio and be at this pretty much a mini Star Wars celebration that's happening in San Antonio. It's gonna be fantastic.
If you're not a Star Wars fan, if you're more of a Trekkie or Trekker, for those who don't like that term, there's plenty of folks there for you as well. I've already mentioned Bill Shatner, Gates McFadden. Jonathan Frakes, unfortunately, is not going to make it. He has a family engagement that same weekend. Brent Spiner, the legendary Brent Spiner, John Delancey, our friend Todd Stashwick, who was absolutely magnificent on the third season of Picard, and Robert Duncan McNeil is also going to be in attendance. Terry Metalis is not on here, but Terry's going to be there. There's just so many individuals that I want to meet. You want to meet. Everybody wants to meet. I'm binge watching Strange New Worlds right now, and it is so good. And
Yeah.
there's several characters, several cast members who are going to be in attendance for that weekend. Big shout out to, I really want to talk to Giancarlo again. The last time we talked, it was the big announcement. He had been talking to Marvel about joining the MCU. It went super viral. Our video clip was everywhere. Everybody was stealing it, not giving me credit, but whatever, whatever. And every major news outlet, Yahoo was talking about it, Forbes was talking about it, every major media outlet was talking about the reveal, is what we'll call it, the reveal, not like the LeBron reveal, but it was a Giancarlo reveal.
And you
And
guys are friends now, right?
Yeah, we're absolutely friends. You know what?
Or are we not
He's
supposed to talk about that?
No, it's totally cool. I He actually emailed us like a month ago out of the blue, and he just said some really nice things, and I was just like, "Oh my god!" Like, there's certain people who you hear about, and people just talk about them in ways you do not expect, and he's one of those guys. He's absolutely one of those guys. For him to email us years after we had our last discussion, and just to kind of say some nice things about us, and giving us, um him showing his appreciation for us writing about him and still talking about everything. He's amazing. But now that he's in the MCU, our next conversation will be very different. Now he's allowed to talk about things, and we've already seen the trailer for Captain America,
Brave New World,
Brave New World, Strange New World, Brave New World, Strange Worlds, New World. So
man.
many names. Captain America, Brave New World. Yeah, and now we know who he's playing. He's playing Sidewinder, who's the
The king of
king
the snakes.
of the Serpent Society. So many things to talk about, and now that the mystery's been revealed and all that stuff, like, we'll be able to dive into that a little bit deeper. And I'm sorry, we have a chat here. Aiden Taylor's in the chat saying, "What's up, gang? What's going on, Aiden?
What's up, Aiden?
Glad you're here, sir." So yeah, that is, I have to call that out again. Every time we're on here, it's gonna be here before you know it, and
Yeah,
I don't want people to miss out. So if you're watching right now, after we're done with this stream, you're gonna go to spaceconsa.com. You don't have to buy your tickets today. Just go through the guest list. Just look at the prices. Look at the autograph prices. Look at the photo op prices, and just start turning the gears in your head about like what you want to do and who you want to see. And I don't want anybody to not go for any reason. Like, we just had we just had Superhero Comic Con in June, and like, that went above and beyond anything we could have anticipated.
yeah,
The panels were spectacular, the guests were all incredible. Like, everybody just had a fantastic time. Some of the lines were a bit long, but like, that's how popular these folks are. And so you kind of just go roll with it as best you can. But I strongly recommend you look into this one, because it's not like those big cons. It's not like the big ones. It's not like the traveling ones that go all over the country. No, these promoters, they stick here in San Antonio. They work at getting better every year. So it's going to be well organized and way better ran than most conventions across the country. And our team, our team's also going to do the most that we can to make sure that works out. We'll have plenty of giveaways all weekend long. We'll be doing podcasts. We'll be doing live streams. Yeah, it's going to be a time. So be sure to
Wookiees,
keep. Say it again.
Wookiees,
We're going to have cosplayers at our booth that you will not want to miss.
slave
Trust
Leias.
us. Trust us. You're not gonna want to miss the cosplayers at our booth. And I'm working on some ideas. We've had some interesting conversations with some folks in recent weeks. So I think we're all gonna try and just go bigger this time than last time. All right, let's get off of that topic. And whew, I also was promoting a face hugger giveaway. I'm not going to do it just yet. Stick around. We're going to talk San Diego Comic Con, because we haven't heard from Dave on this show yet. So we're going to do that. And then I'm going to tell you guys how you can register, how you can enter to win an alien Romulus face hugger. Who wouldn't want this? That's what I'm asking. This bad boy, super highly detailed, the San Diego Comic Con exclusive. We had a blast watching the panel for Alien Romulus. Maybe that's the first thing we can talk about. And then after we're done talking San Diego, we're going to tell you guys how you can win that. So I don't even know where to start with San Diego, honestly, because we did 50,000 things that weekend. So let's just kind of start off some areas in general. You probably had some preconceived notion about what you were getting into because you've been to conventions, you've been to celebration.
Yeah.
Your expectations, did we meet them? Did we surpass them? If so, how much were they surpassed? Because this was Dave's first time attending San Diego Comic Con, and it wasn't just like Dave attended as a regular attendee. We attended as press. We were covering panels. You've seen the videos from our coverage. Appreciate all the likes, shares, and comments. We've hit like 20 million views in the last 2 weeks, which is insane to me. I never thought we'd see those numbers ever in that short span of time. But I want to hear from Dave. Dave, your first time, what happened? Where did you land?
So yeah, like you said, I've been to 5 Star Wars celebrations, twice in Anaheim, once in Chicago, once in Orlando, once in London. The London one was last year. It was awesome, terrific. Um, I've been to those as media, but the media badge really didn't get you much at Celebration for my Star Wars Stuff podcast. But the press pass, the Countdown to the Geekcast got, we were at the top of the food chain, man. We were actual press. We were treated like press, legitimate press. We were invited to things. We were respected as press at different events. And it was a trip of a lifetime, man. I tell everyone that asks me about it. I mean, I could have never imagined it was going to go that well as press, and I gotta emphasize that we were working press. We got permission to do things that the normal con goer does not get permission to. If I would have gone to SDCC as a normal con goer, it wouldn't have been anywhere near to the level of fun and access and just people we got to meet, you know? But going as press, man, um, I was I either high fived, shook hands, or fist bumped every major Hollywood celebrity that was in attendance, except for Harrison Ford. He was the only one that said, "No, I'm not touching anyone," for good reason, because a lot of people got sick, like myself. Um, but yeah, that first preview night, I got to meet the creator, owner, founder of Collider for the first time. We had crossed paths at other conventions, but we never physically met and took a selfie together. We met Leilani Shu outside when we were waiting and figuring out our game plan. Um, I had heard things comparing Star Wars Celebration to STC, how STC's um, more like not personal, more like separate, more away. Not there wasn't the camaraderie that there is at Celebration. To me, it felt like no, it was almost exactly like Star Wars Celebration in that aspect because people were talking to each other that were perfect strangers in line. We were making friends with other press. We were making friends with other cosplayers. Anytime you asked for a photo, a selfie, everyone's like, "Yeah, let's do it." Um, anytime that we tried to go to a party that we knew that we could get into, we were invited with open arms, and they wanted to talk to us, and they wanted to give us drink tickets. Um, it was a great vibe. Everyone there, I mean, there was no like rude people. There was no like just outright like hostility that I've heard in the past. I mean, everyone was cool. Everyone was chill. You heard everyone say, okay, Comic Con is finally back from the big hiatus, and Marvel was back in a big way. And it was great, man. And of course, being with you, you were like kind of like my my guide, my leader.
Your
Since you've been
Sherpa.
so many, yeah, my Sherpa, my existential Mister Rogers. Um, it was great. No, I mean having you there as well. You knew your way around, so you knew where to walk, where the buses were, like how to get to certain spots. So I didn't have to like look at the map so much. But yeah, the con floor was cavernous. They're the biggest con I've ever been to, the most booths I've ever seen, the tallest booths I've ever seen, the most technological booths that I've ever seen. Um, Jason Palmer always comes to Superhero Comic Con, and he usually has the biggest booth there. But at San Diego Comic Con, his booth just gets swallowed, and it's like, man, your display doesn't look so big anymore. But of course, in San Antonio, it's ginormous.
That's interesting. So Star Wars Celebration, you're not seeing the same like level size of booths? And I understand that there's some companies that don't do booths, right? Marvel has a stage out in the middle of the floor that's like 40 feet wide, and
Right. Well, I mean, of course, Star Wars
DC,
Celebration. There's no like Marvel. There's no.
yeah, but you just have vendors, but nobody goes that big, right?
Well, I mean, they have a stage set up traditionally. But for Comic Con, it's everybody. Everybody brings their A game because this is the one place that people show out, they show up, and it's like legendary because you always hear about it. Everyone's like, "Oh, but have you been to San Diego?" And all my life, I had to say, "No, I haven't gone," and I don't think I'll ever go. And the opportunity came up, and I called Ted one day, and I was like, "I got to get the hell out of Seguin, man. Take me to San Diego with you, Ted." Get me out of here. I gotta get out of here. I gotta be where the people are. Sounding like Ariel from The Little Mermaid right now. But yeah, I mean, I'm the person. I always say this all the time. I watch and wait every July on YouTube for all the panels to come up on YouTube. And my dream, without knowing it was my dream, was to be there someday in person and watch it happen live in front of my eyeballs. And it happened. Not only did it happen, I was right there, literally like touching the stage that they were walking on Hall H, and looking like behind the curtain and watching them like get ready, even. And they were walking. I saw them walk up, walk right in front of me, walk right past me, and like walk to the stage to do their big promotion for whatever they were doing. And that was everyone on Friday and Saturday. And Saturday was a big Marvel panel that I pretty much think about my whole year until July comes. And then I finally see it. And it's it's an unbelievable thing, man. I can't, there's no words to kind of describe. It's like for like a sports fan going to the Super Bowl, for going to the World Series or going to the NBA Finals. I'd gone to the NBA Finals before, but that was in my home state. This was in California. All the celebrities showed up, and I mean Keanu Reeves, um, Robert Downey Jr. We didn't know he was going to be there. He slapped me a high five. The Russo brothers, meeting Anthony Russo at the restaurant, seeing Kevin Feige walk across that stage several times, interacting with Florence Pugh, interacting with Anthony Mackie, um, like meeting the cast of the boys, slapping high fives with the boys, with Rings of Power, the whole cast, almost taking a ring off of Sauron. I probably would have gotten kicked out, but um, yeah, it was like I said, it's a trip of a lifetime. And I told Ted, I was like, if you turn and look at me, might see a grown man cry. But luckily, I didn't get that emotional there. I've kind of gotten a little emotional being back home thinking about it, that I was there and that close to the action. And I mean, it was incredible, man. I mean, that's a lot of what I've been thinking about. It's like, I mean, am I putting this in my obituary or what's going on? Are we gonna have more conventions like this? Are we gonna have more like crazier things happen? Um, it's yet to be seen. The future is yet to be revealed to us. But I mean, for my first time, I mean, Robert Downey Jr., Kevin Feige, high fiving, going out to the same place to eat. It's just an incredible thing, man. For my first time, and I get to tell people now I went to San Diego Comic Con. It just doesn't feel real, Ted. It feels like a dream. It feels like
I
it was a dream, and yeah, it feels like we made it up.
That's what I tell everybody who's asked. How did it feel? How did it go, Ted? I'm like, it was a dream, bro. It was a dream. And it sounds so like nonchalant, like, oh, a dream, a dream. No, it was like a fantasy. Like
Right.
I tell folks like we got to go almost everywhere we wanted to. We talked to everybody we wanted to. I mean, and it's San Diego's on another level because you're not only like seeing things up close, but you're also meeting folks you wouldn't anticipate to meet. You mentioned Frosty from Collider.
Hmm.
I ran to Mark Bernardin. You ran to Mark Bernardin. You actually met Rob Liefeld. I spoke to Andy Park, who's one of the head visual artists over at Marvel. I talked to Sam Jones because we're on a first name basis. He remembers me. I moderated his panel a few years back. Um, we met Anthony Russo, like you had already mentioned.
Met
It
Ryan
was
Condal, the showrunner of House of the Dragon. I'd
House of the
attended a
Dragon, which we're going to be
conversation with
talking
him.
about later on today. We're going to
Yeah.
get to there by the end of the show. We're going to talk about the House of the Dragon finale because we haven't done it yet. So we're going to do that later on. But yeah, for sure, Ryan Condal. I know there's folks that we met that I'm missing that we kind of just met spontaneously. I'll try and remember them shortly. But bucket list item for me, Amy Jo Johnson. She signed the cover of her comic. She wrote a little heart with an arrow through it. I didn't ask her to do this. She did it by herself, just saying. And
Oh, let me tell the people this. So Ted, so the ladies love Ted.
uh-oh.
All you gotta do is hang out with Ted, and yeah, there was so many like awesome people, man. Um, yeah, Ted's just one of those guys. He attracts the best people. I'll say that. I'll leave it at that.
Oh, I remember another one, Anthony Starr, who plays Homelander. I mean, well,
Exactly. Yeah.
this is kind of the one of the stories that is cool to tell. So we're trying to get into this party. It's for press, it's for attendees, and the line is long and like they're not letting a lot of folks in. So me and Dave were like, all right, let's just go eat because we don't want to wait outside in this line. We're starving. So we're gonna go find a restaurant. A guy walks by me past this line of people, and I know that face. I know that profile. I saw he has dark, spiky hair. He's wearing glasses, and he kind of looked suspicious, like he was trying to hide who he was. I'm following him, not only because I was trying to figure out who it was, but two, because he was heading the exact same direction that Dave was. Okay, so I wasn't stalking this guy. I was also walking to meet Dave, who was around the corner. Turns out we're going to the same place. We're going into the Hard Rock Hotel, and I catch a glimpse of his face, and it's Homelander himself. It's Anthony Starr from The Boys, who also had a great panel. You can watch the full panel on our YouTube channel. There's two parts. It's amazing. Anthony Starr, he walks into this restaurant. Where's Dave at? Dave's in the same restaurant. So I'm like, people ask me, where are you going? Where are you going? Who are you? Where are you going? I'm going to go meet my friend at the restaurant. That's exactly where I went. Who's sitting next to Dave? The Deep. Chase Crawford is sitting at the bar next to Dave. Like, if this doesn't explain to you what happened at San Diego Comic Con, like nothing else will. I'm going into the same restaurant Anthony Starr just walked into. I'm going to meet Dave. Dave's already sitting next to the Deep. They're not even sitting at the same table, these two gentlemen. They're sitting with different people. And also Kevin Durand from
Yes.
Kingdom of the Planet of the
Yeah.
Apes is also eating at another table. We don't bother these folks, just so y'all know, right? We're not going up to the tables. We're not those kinds of fans. I wish I was, but I'm not.
For press.
We're pressed. So we have a great time. I honestly found one of the best beers I've ever had at this location, at this restaurant. And I go to the bathroom, and as I'm walking back, Anthony Starr's walking on his way to the bathroom, which allowed me two things: say hello and quickly let him pass because he had to go. So I said, Anthony, awesome to meet you, man. I was like, how's your San Diego going? He goes, it's going fantastic, man. And then he ran to the restroom. So shook hands with Homelander. Luckily, before he went to the
Oh,
bathroom, not after. Yeah. So that was, and then the same restaurant the next day we met Anthony Russo, and we were feet away from Joe Russo and Kevin Feige, and like the brass over at Disney, like the head. I'm pretty sure that was either the president or some of the executives at Disney that we were kind of feet away from. So it's pretty awesome. Also, I'm usually not a big like autograph getter at San Diego just because so much is about the experience, and I'm not in it for the collectibles or like getting autographed items. But there was one that I had the opportunity to get and I could not pass up because it felt like it was a once in a lifetime opportunity. We were at the panel for Boom Studios, Keanu Reeves, and he was there promoting his Berserker projects. Berserker, of course, is his concept. He came out with a comic, graphic novel. Now they're working on two projects at Netflix. One is an anime, another is a live action movie that will feature Keanu. And during his panel, he says, once this is over, back at our booth, I have like a limited amount of signed copies of my graphic novel. I was like, say less. I was like getting up while the panel was still going on. And when I knew it was like 2, 3 minutes from being over, I was like, and I was gone. And it was on the other side of the expo floor. So it took me like 10 minutes to get there. But lo and behold, outside of my autograph that I have of Stan Lee before he passed, I have a poster of Stan Lee, and he had signed it. Outside of that, this is probably my most prized possession. It's his beautiful graphic novel. It's a matte finish. Pages are painted black. It's absolutely gorgeous. And to top it all off, signed by the legend himself, Keanu. I can't believe I own this. Is really what it is. Really what it is. Um, it's gorgeous, and I honestly, when I grabbed it, I almost cried. I was like, "Oh, you have no idea how much this means to me." And I know it sounds weird, but Keanu means that much to a lot of people. He's sort of that category of like celebrities that are like uh s- more humble than you can like possibly imagine. And he's out always doing good things for folks. Such a nice dude. He's always enthusiastic. He's great with the fans. And my introduction to Keanu was Bill and Ted. That's what it was. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. And even though it's cheesy and it's corny, it's one of my faves. It really is. And Bogus Journey, I still love Bogus Journey too. I don't care what anybody says. Bogus Journey is awesome. So shout out to Keanu, and I can't wait for these Netflix projects to drop. Just because it's gonna be something people do not anticipate. Like nobody's ready for a live action Berserker project. It's gonna be unlike anything that's come before it, like without a doubt in my mind. And so I'm excited for Keanu Reeves to do that, and everybody else is too, because we posted some panel videos and they blew up. Everybody loves him. So yeah. I don't think there's probably not much else to talk about. We did a ton of interviews. I mean, we've talked a little bit about this before. You've done it on your show, I've done it on my show. We did a ton of interviews. Those are coming out soon this week. There's just so many of them. And yeah, any sort of final thoughts about San Diego before we get to our
well,
alien face hugger giveaway?
well, the big thing with Keanu Reeves is that he was presented the most prestigious award at Comic Con, which is the Inkpot Award. And once he got the Inkpot Award and he left the stage, I got to fist bump him coming off the stage as well. And yeah, he's super humble. He is who you see in all the social media posts of him just sitting in the park bench in Central Park or riding the subway, giving up his seat to a woman, and that whole thing. He's donated a lot of his salary from the Matrix to help out the stunties and the workers on the Matrix, and he's just he's like an American icon, an American legend, even though he's from
Absolutely.
Canada. And from Canada and Hawaii, right? I think one of his parents are from Hawaii,
I believe
or
so,
is it
yeah.
just his name is Hawaiian? But yeah, I mean, I think that covers a lot of it. That Thursday we did a bunch of interviews. You fist bumped Chris Hemsworth on the Transformers One panel stage.
Yeah, that was unexpected. Okay. I'm not making fun of Chris Hemsworth. I know it's gonna sound like that, but he was on stage for Transformers One, which we're all excited about. By the way, it looks really fantastic. I don't know if they released a San Diego trailer, but it was awesome. And he's on stage with Key and also with, oh my god, I'm already forgetting everybody's names that were on stage.
Brian Tyree Henry.
Yeah, Brian Terry Henry, and it for whatever reason they're just lingering on stage. Like the panel's over. When the panel's over, you bolt. You know what I mean? Like you got things to
Mm-hmm.
do. You got interviews. San Diego is like it's a well oiled machine. Like the cast from projects, they do their panels, they go straight to like autographs for like a half hour, and then they're meeting like every major media outlet. They're meeting, Entertainment Tonight, they're meeting Collider, back to back to back. But for whatever reason, the cast was lingering on the stage. Chris was there, Brian Tyree Henry was there, and it's almost like Chris didn't know what to do. And it was so funny just watching him just like kind of like, all right, well, what's happening? For like a good minute, he just wasn't doing anything. Key and Brian Tyree Henry, they had their phones out. They were like recording the crowds and stuff. They were having a blast. And Chris was like, no, I guess I'll do that too. And he took his phone out. And when you see somebody who doesn't really know how to record a phone well, because they do that thing where like they never look at the face of the camera while they're recording. Chris was like, "This is like, yeah, yeah, yeah." It's like you don't have to do that, bro. Just look at the screen while you're recording. It's totally fine. But and then he did something unexpected. I don't remember what the first item was, but somebody had something to give him, and I took a video of it because I was taking photos for the press in the front, and then he just came down and started autographing people's items, like to my left, to my right, and then I was just like, "Oh, screw it." I just put my fist out, and he just gave me a fist bump. I was like, "Oh, pretty awesome." So yeah, everybody loved that video. That video blew up too, and it's just Chris Hemsworth, out of the kindness of his heart, autographing items for fans, and you don't have to do it. That's not the place to do it. And you kind of see the different you see the kind of realness in some of these celebrities when they do stuff like that. um Norman Reedus and oh my god, I've had too much beer. um Norman Reedus was the other one who, man, it was borderline uncomfortable.
Yeah.
They had a panel for his series with Lauren Cohen,
Mm-hmm.
and their panel was over, and you're supposed to go. You know, just like I said, once panel's over, you got to go. There's another panel in 15 minutes or less. Norman didn't leave. Um, oh, you know what? It was Norman who did it, but also Jeffrey Dean Morgan is who I'm thinking of. It was Jeffrey Dean Morgan and
Yeah.
Lauren Cohen. Their panel was over, and they signed maybe 50 autographs. And there's no time to sign one. And they probably signed 50 combined. And it was so long and it was so chaotic because the people from rows and sections back in Hall H bum rush the stage. Now, when there's nobody in front of the stage, now you have arguably 75 people in front of the stage, and they're all just trying to get, Lucille Bats signed and posters signed, and Lauren and Jeffrey, God bless them, they would not leave, and nobody's telling them, so it's not their fault.
Hmm.
But the security, they can't tell the cast anything, but they can tell the public whatever the hell they want. So they were getting aggressive. Go to your seats. Get away from the stage. And I'm just there in my front row, like, oh my god, this is crazy. And it was like, it felt like 10 minutes of them signing, which is, it's amazing that they did it, but man, that was chaotic. And then once that was over, nobody was allowed up front. Like, you couldn't walk to your seat without getting stopped. They put 2 to 3 security guards in the aisles after that happened, because they just didn't want that chaotic mess anymore.
Yeah.
But it just goes to show how cool some of these celebrities are. Lauren Cohen, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, they are badasses because they were signing autographs. They weren't taking shit from anybody. And they did it for like a good 5 to 10 minutes, and there's no time for it. There's zero time for it. It's
Yeah.
bonkers. It
That's the
was
beauty
so
of Hall
long
H.
that I was getting uncomfortable. I'm just like, oh my god, there's another panel got to start. Why aren't they leaving? Why aren't they leaving?
Yeah, that's the beauty of Comic Con, man. Special moments like that happen. I bet all those people that got those autographs are gonna remember that for the rest of their lives. Remember the particular actors that stayed and signed and fought the security. I saw the security get up on stage and we're like, "You guys got to go. You guys got to go. It's over. It's over."
And
And they
they
just
they
kept on
wouldn't
signing.
listen. They
But
wouldn't
I mean
listen.
that's what like built like I mean that's why you go to Comic Con for those types of interactions and like you feel like if you're one of those people that got those autographs, you feel like my God, I did something great. This is a memory I'll have forever. I'll have this autograph forever. Hopefully, I have it displayed in my room forever. Or shoot, if I need money at some point in time, I could sell it for a lot of money. But I mean, still, I mean, that's what I'm always hoping for at these conventions. Those rare, priceless moments. You know,
Yeah. It was a sight to behold. And it sounds so like you
trivial
know
in a way.
yeah, trivial.
Yeah,
I was gonna say not extraordinary, but trivial is a better word. It sounds so trivial, but it was like, people trying to get close to the Beatles. It was just
yeah.
mayhem,
Yeah. I mean,
absolute
so
mayhem.
my whole like thought process with all these conventions when all these celebrities show up, that's why people come to these things is to experience those type of moments with these celebrities that you're never possibly never going to see again in person. I mean, you want to have that. I mean, the whole Andy Circus thing that we had at Superhero Comic Con in San Antonio, super special, man. I mean, he shook all of our hands, he talked to us. Um, the experience he had on stage with him was tremendous. I mean, he's a super busy guy. We know he's a part of like every major franchise, and he made the sacrifice to come down and he saw us and he walked the con floor. He wasn't afraid, you know. He wanted to be with the people, and it was tremendous. And that's what you want. That's as a con goer, you want those special unknown surprises that happen that pop up, and hopefully at SpaceCon we get that. Hopefully we get I don't know some of those big time celebrities walking the floor and coming to the booths and doing out of the box kind of interaction type stuff. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. I'll say that the two winners of San Diego panel wise were clearly Alien, Romulus, and just Marvel. Um, Marvel, of course, went all out before they brought out anybody. They had a full choir singing Madonna's "Like a Prayer" in red and yellow wardrobes robes, and they had Deadpool variants dancing in the aisles, all the way from the back to the front. They just booked it. It was amazing, and never seen anything like that from Marvel before. It just felt so outside the box. Not to mention they did a Guinness Book of World Records uh drone largest drone show
Of
um
fictional characters.
of a fictional character award, a world record
Right.
drone show, largest drone show for a fictional character, which just sounds so specific. But either way, fireworks and something ridiculous like 5,000 drones or 10,000 drones. It was just enormous, but it looked so amazing. Just the details and the shades of the characters that they had in the sky. We got a great video of that. It's online. You can also find it everywhere else, but still. Um, and I was wondering why Petco Park, which is where the Padres play, I was wondering why there was nothing going on there over the weekend. That's why Disney reserved the baseball stadium so they could do a drone show for one night, which was Thursday night. And yeah, the videos of Hugh Jackman and Ryan and Sean Levy outside watching the drone show is just amazing. Just the look on their faces, because I don't even think they knew either what it was going to be or what it was going to look like. So there's great videos of just seeing their reactions of the drone show from Hall H. They were just outside Hall H, and we knew exactly where that was. And yeah, it's
And it was
pretty
it was a
awesome.
world class drone show too. It wasn't no like rinky dink type thing. It was like
No,
complex models that were moving,
moving,
words,
running.
like fireworks coming out of them for the Fantastic Four logo.
You had the logo of Deadpool, and then they did the
The
claws cutting through
yes,
it, and then you had, I think, Deadpool across the screen, and you had a katana cutting through it. It's just drone shows, but like animated drone show is what it was. It was an animated drone show. It was so amazing to watch. If you haven't seen it, I don't know how you guys missed it, but it was so amazing, and it was even better in person. And we didn't even know it was happening. We walked
you
out
got lucky.
seconds before, and we saw this girl who was looking up at the sky, and I just something in me said, "Ask her what's wrong."
Oh gosh.
And I think I
And she was
said,
holding a Wolverine bucket too.
"Yeah," and I just said, "Hey, are you okay?" She's holding her phone, she's looking up, and I don't know what I was thinking. I was just like, "Are you all right?" Like, it was noticeably she was noticeably looking for something to happen, and I was
It
hoping it
felt
was
like she
something.
didn't want to talk to us.
Well, she said something odd like, "Oh, they said to look up at the sky at 9:40." And I'm like, "Who said that?" And they're like, "The panel people." And
Kevin
I looked
Feige
at my
did.
phone, 9:40 on the dot. I'm just like, "What's gonna happen?" And then the fireworks kind of told everybody it's about to begin. Could not. And Galactus. Oh my god.
And I said it right before Galactus came up. I said the perfect thing to put up there would be a celestial. And then freaking Galactus comes up, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's what you gotta have.
I mean, how did you how can you top like a 10-minute animated drone show of Deadpool and Wolverine just like hijinks throughout? There's like multiple scenes of just them two doing things. I think Wolverine's like carrying Deadpool at one point
Yeah,
as a drone show showing this. And then to top it all off, they give us Galactus, who would probably be bigger than what we saw him in the
right,
sky
right.
that night.
Yeah,
And and then how do you top off Galactus? You do a Fantastic Four logo, and then you light it on fire.
yeah.
And literally, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen. I don't think I've seen anything cooler than that. It was the Fantastic Four logo on fire. It was like Johnny Storm just flying up there and just lit it. And I'm like, who in the world came up with this? We now know. Now you can find them on Instagram, uh,
Yeah.
World Class Drone Show page or something. But My God, it was so intricate, so well executed. I mean, that was night one. That was Thursday. That was Thursday, and it just felt like,
Uh,
wow, we're in for it. If this is the first night, and we got
yeah,
3 more days of this. So yeah, we've gone on and on about San Diego, and I know I've promised people a face hugger, so we're gonna talk about that next. Any final thoughts before I tell folks about the face hugger giveaway, sir?
yeah, that Alien Romulus panel was awesome and a big surprise that they handed out a face hugger to everyone in the crowd, and we were able to snag one as a giveaway. So it was incredible.
Yeah, I won't talk about it much, but yeah, we the Hall H was attacked by face huggers. They were on the
Right
screen, they were all over the floor, like running
on the
by us.
stage.
They were on the stage, and a chest burster came out of a dude on stage. There's a video of that. It's on Instagram. I think it's over 1 million views now on Instagram. Um, but yeah, that was Friday, and I was like, how does anybody top that? You killed a guy. Nobody's ever murdered somebody on stage at Hall H. I've been to a
Always
lot of
first.
I've seen a lot of panels at Hall H. I've
Yeah,
never seen anybody murdered before. And it sounds cheesy, but I've never been in a scenario where there was like face huggers on the ground. So part of me was a little frightened. I'm just like, this is a new experience, new
uh,
sensation. Face huggers are everywhere.
yeah.
And luckily, I was sitting next to the biggest Aliens fan.
Oh, cool.
She was like the hype girl for the panel, and when the things were all over the place, she was screaming. So I kind of got like a really authentic experience because she was freaking out. And so yeah, it was pretty awesome. All right. If anybody wants to win a face hugger, type hashtag aliens or type type what your favorite aliens movie is. Let's kind of do something like that. This is gonna be the how you win the San Diego Comic Con exclusive face hugger. Um, Here he is, right here. He's absolutely gorgeous. The fingers, we'll call them fingers. You actually kind of make them stay in place so you can mold them how you want. And same for the tail. You kind of mold the tail how you want. You kind of put it in the positioning that you need it to be in. And so ultimately, what you're able to do, I'm not going to do it here because I'm going to give this away. You can put this on your face. You can wrap the fingers around your head and you can walk around with this bad boy because it's got eye holes. So you can see where you're going.
Yeah,
Um,
really quick Halloween costume there.
Absolutely. Throw some blood on your clothes. It'd be amazing. So, Countdown City Geeks are giving away a San Diego Comic Con exclusive. And the way you do it is going to be in the chat. There's a form, it's in the chat right now. We're going to accept entries until Friday. I believe it's Friday. Yeah, Friday the 16th when Alien Romulus drops. And we will select a winner, announce the winner online, and you will get an email if you win. And be sure that you are checking your emails basically on Friday and make sure that you check your spam folder in case we go in there by accident, of course. But yeah, we're giving away a San Diego Comic Con exclusive. I'm happy to. I'm happy to kind of bring a piece of San Diego Comic Con to you guys. And this won't be our only San Diego Comic Con giveaway. We will actually have more giveaways in the next coming weeks. All right. We need to talk about House of the Dragon. But before we do, I want to announce one last thing. The Countdown City Geeks, in partnership with Warner Brothers Pictures, are celebrating the upcoming release of Beetlejuice, of course, the 1988 sequel to the first Beetlejuice. We're gonna do something a little bit different. We want to have a pre-party for Beetlejuice. So what we're gonna do is have a screening of the 1988 film, and this is gonna take place in the Valley, which is South Texas, for those of you guys who are uninitiated. But if you're in the Edinburgh, the McAllen, far Texas area, there's going to be a screening this coming Monday. This coming Monday, and we are giving away lots of tickets to the screening. This is a screening of the original Beetlejuice. That link right now is in the chat. If you're not in the South Texas of Rio Grande Valley area, do not bother, please. If you can't make it Monday, don't make it. But this is going to be a big event. It's Warner Brothers sponsored. There's going to be merchandise and other items from Beetlejuice to give away, and we highly suggest and recommend that you wear your best gothic glam attire. Go all out. Dress up as Lydia in the red wedding dress. Dress up as Beetlejuice if you have the ensemble. If not, just wear your gothic glam best. It's highly recommended and suggested, and you guys are going to enjoy it. And just because we're already working with Warner Brothers, it's not a guarantee, but let's just say the good opportunity, we're going to have some advanced screening passes to give away for the real thing, Beetlejuice, before it drops next month. All right. So much goodness. Amazing. Let's see here. Du-du-du-du-du-du. All right. Should we talk House of the Dragon now?
I think we can.
It's hot D time, baby. And I really, I really wanted Matty B to be here. He's a huge House of the Dragon fan. Unfortunately, he couldn't make it tonight. Something came up, but regardless, we're here to talk about House of the Dragon season 2. And we want to hear from you guys. If you're in the chat, if you've seen it, if you have thoughts, if you're passionate about certain aspects of it, we want to hear from you. Drop your comments in the chat because we'll read them out and we'll discuss them. If you have questions too, you can throw those in the chat as well. House of the Dragon season 2 finale. Um, there's a lot to talk about, and there's also not a lot that sort of happened, but I think the highlights of it are as follows. Matt Smith, who plays Damon, came to a very spiritual revelation when he witnessed Daenerys in the future um, being born of fire. um, Rhaenyra and Alicent had one final heart-to-heart talk to see if anything, if everything, if anything, to see if anything could be done before the war starts. Now you thought this season we were going to get a war, but no, no, no. This was the pre-war. There's going to be a war, and that's what we're all waiting for in season 3. Not to mention friend of the show, King Aegon II, played by Tom Glenn Carney, and Lord Laris fled King's Landing. So a lot happened, and also not a lot happened. But I guess the most important things are like Damon and Rhaenyra. Sorry, Damon and Rhaenyra are sort of they've squashed any tension that there was between them. They have, unionized their forces once again, and the other side is in shambles. It really is. Um, yeah. It- your thoughts, sir. Your overview, your reaction to the finale that was season 2 of House of the Dragon.
They did definitely wrap up the kind of conflict between Rhaenyra and Daemon when Rhaenyra kind of unexpectedly ends up at Harrenhal, and Daemon bends the knee, and everyone else follows suit, and she now has really huge army at her disposal. So Rhaenyra essentially has the advantage with dragons, and it looks like he has a pretty decent advantage with uh, men in an army. Um, that scene where Damon sees the future, a glimpse of the future. If you read the books or know what happens in the books, you kind of see a scene from the books, I think, as far as him in the water. Um, but you see the one-eyed raven, of course. You saw that in Game of Thrones, and you see the three dragon eggs that we see in the Game of Thrones series, and of course you see the back of Daenerys.
And
And
he saw one of the White Walkers, not the king, but he saw
right, right. A lot
one
of
of
people
them.
were kind of confused on that, but yeah, the face was different, the hairstyle is a little different. So yeah, he saw a White Walker, and he also saw one of the Green Men, the tiny people with like deer antlers. Um, that was kind of freaky to see that on
I
screen.
was confused. That wasn't one of the children of the forest.
No, that was a different like species,
Mm.
kind of like a child of the forest, but a green man, so a different species. But also, I believe the man with the white hair at the very beginning was that. Who exactly was that?
Mm,
That
mm,
wasn't.
mm.
I forgot his name.
I forgot the
Max
name
von
too.
Sydow's character was it?
I don't know. Oh, it might have been.
Okay, just a younger version maybe.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, other than that, I mean, it was pretty cool to see, and some of that actually leaked online like a week ahead of time or a few days ahead of time.
yeah.
So you were lucky not to have been spoiled from that. But a lot of fans are kind of disappointed by that season finale because I think everyone expected like a big climactic battle type sequence, and we got the lead up to the eventual battle in season three that we're gonna have to wait another 2 years for. So that's uh that's unfortunate. But as far as the season goes, I think everyone's gonna point back to that Dance of Dragons episode with the battle with Vagar and Rhaenyra's, um, when she goes down, and then of course King Aegon goes down as well. But yeah, it's wild how all the chess pieces have moved. How you said the King Aegon has left Valeris and kind of like heading off in the night in secret, um, and just moving away from King's Landing there, and it's um it's a setup for season three now apparently, and 2 years, man, until House of the Dragon. But it felt like season two got here pretty quick, and that was 2 years as well.
It did, but also, we kind of went through COVID a little bit. I think toward the end. So like,
Yeah.
it kind of went faster for us because nothing else was happening. Yeah, the thing about this show, and I'm gonna compare it slightly to Game of Thrones, is that the arcs they took forever to get to, from like the first episode of season one, says season two, the first episode of this season to the last episode of this season. The arcs took forever to move, but also like the distance that they moved was very little, and that is only slightly frustrating. Not very frustrating. It's not completely unsatisfying, but like Damon, for example, gets in a fight with Rhaenyra at the beginning of the season, and he kind of reunites with her by the end of the season. But like, you took 8 episodes to show us that. You took 8 episodes for them to just like smash it. Yeah, and the same thing with oh, I'm trying to Alicent. Alicent not able to come to terms with what she's ever done, and maybe she also needed Rhaenyra's help with understanding that she might have made a mistake. But also she could have just kind of done that to begin with. I mean, possibly, right? Just not jump the gun so quickly, but she was so power hungry I felt like at the when the king died in season 1, that she didn't really nothing else mattered but gaining power for themselves and her son. However, like again, she kind of finally came to the realization, like, yes, I made a horrible mistake, and yes, it's going to cost the lives of millions. And it is a good arc, but maybe we could have got there faster, and then there could have been other things for her to experience afterwards. It just feels like the arcs are somewhat satisfying, but they still need to be progressed a little bit more. 8 episodes is probably not enough to kind of make a really satisfying arc for any of these characters to be completed. And also the story, it it was pushed forward, but I think we all wanted to see it pushed further.
Right.
So you're right that it's a setup, and that's what makes it feel like a setup, is that the arcs weren't pushed along enough, and the story wasn't pushed along enough. Like we expected to go to war at the end of season 1, and now we are finally going to war at the end of season 2, and now we won't see the war until the beginning of season 3, which like you already mentioned, won't come until 2026. So I'm I'm happy with it. It's not completely fulfilling what we witnessed. Also, like Damon's visions, I don't know if it's completely satisfying either, because he's such a character that doesn't really believe so much in religion, or he's not very spiritual as a person. And it just felt like, yeah, he saw the visions, but you don't really expect him to kind of go in the deep end with it. You know what I mean? And he did, but it's still not completely expected. I didn't anticipate him to kind of turn. I get what they're going for. I totally get it. And I seeing Daenerys, it's cool, but I don't know if it has that same effect right now. It's kind of like when the king sat down with Rhaenyra and talked about the fire of ice and fire of ice and snow for the first time.
Song of Ice and Fire.
Song of Ice and Fire. It's late night, folks. I've been up way too long. Song of Ice and Fire for the first time. That was already like, oh, that's cool. That was unexpected. Now that we're sort of harping on these same themes over and over again, now it's sort of lost a little bit of that luster, if you will. Like, okay, we get it now. So yeah, that's just what kind of my head's at.
Yeah,
Anything else?
I agree with you, man. Um, yeah, it's just gonna be 2 more years that we wait, and 2026 is gonna be a wild year. Avengers, House of the Dragon, 2 Star Wars films, and in the meantime, 2025 we're gonna get Star Wars Celebration, and that's it, right?
I don't know. What
What's
is that?
what else is happening next year? What's
Uh,
the big things next year? I think there's a lot of big movies actually next year.
yeah. It feels like it, right? Because everybody, yeah, no, there's a ton of movies. I mean, Marvel's getting back to 3 movies a year, I believe, next year, starting with Captain America 4. DC has got Superman coming out next July, and it's going to release during San Diego Comic-Con. So what Deadpool Wolverine did this year is what James Gunn and the whole DCU Studios, or DC Studios is doing next year. They're going to release at San Diego Comic Con. So expect them to do their own drone show. Man, I really wish DC would do something first ever. Like, it just seems like they're always trailing Marvel. And for anybody who's like, well, Marvel's been better always, I'm like, no, they weren't. Christopher Nolan was putting out billion-dollar movies before Marvel ever put out their, well, first. I guess Iron Man came out right before The Dark Knight, but The Dark Knight made over $1 billion. Like DC was way ahead of the game. All they had to do was keep the ship afloat and stay the course. But clearly, that's not what happened. This is what happens when you. Well, let's not get into that. But DC is going to try and right the ship next year. I think you're on mute.
Sorry about that. So
You're
I got a
fine.
list right here. Fantastic Four, Captain America, Thunderbolts, Tron Ares, 28 years later, How to Train Your Dragon, Snow White, Jurassic World 4, Superman, of course, you mentioned that.
That's the reboot, and I know
Yeah,
nobody's calling it a reboot. I'm gonna call it a reboot because
that's what it feels like, yeah.
it's
Avatar
exactly what it
3,
feels like.
yeah, Mickey 17, the Bong Joon-ho film with Robert Pattinson, the Batman Part 2 with Robert Pattinson, um, and those are the big ones.
I
So
don't
yeah,
know.
it's
I don't
big
know if
year.
the Batman Part 2 is going to be out next year in time.
Yeah,
They haven't
yeah,
started filming yet,
yeah. If so, it's going to be like a Christmas release or something.
and we heard that from Alfred Pennyworth himself. Andy Serkis was like,
Yeah,
"Yeah, they're still writing it, and we're going to start filming early next year." And it's like, well, then how is it going to come out next year? You got to expect post production to just take forever. So yeah, I don't know how it's going to work. It's a tight window. I'm surprised it's taking this long, to be honest. But I guess there was a lot of things that interrupted the pre-production process and the writing process. Either way, man, it 2024 is not over yet, but it's been absolute bonkers year for TV, film, and then events that we've been a part of, and it's been pretty fantastic. So it's not over yet. If anybody has any thoughts about House of the Dragon, speak now or forever hold your peace. Let's see here. We got a lot of great stuff coming up on the way. Of course, we talked a little bit about the San Diego Comic Con interviews. We interviewed actors, we interviewed producers, writers, we interviewed special effects artists. All great conversations. Dave, the actual one that was conducting all those interviews. And so not only did Dave get the full San Diego Comic Con experience, but I threw him to the wolves in the press rooms, and Dave killed it with the questions and everything. Came in prepared, came in ready, and it looked like you were having fun. So, yeah,
yeah,
can't wait for those to come out. Anything you want to say about all those?
yeah. It was a lot of fun. The first person that I got to ask questions to was one of the head guys at Weta who worked on Avatar, as well as King of the Planet of the Apes, and I got to ask him questions that I was wondering about the technology, about his experiences. Um, it was really cool. I never thought I'd meet someone that worked for Weta, and I'm a big Lord of the Rings fan, so that's Peter Jackson's company that he sold. Or actually, he owns Weta still, and he sold Weta Digital, so it's kind of weird, but yeah,
Well, interviews coming soon, more panels dropping soon, and like I mentioned, we're gonna have more giveaways coming out from San Diego Comic Con that are exclusives. And if you want to win those, you gotta subscribe to our channel so you can find out when those drop. And one of them is in fact Deadpool related. So an exclusive from Deadpool and Wolverine that we're gonna give away in the next coming weeks. But for right now, if you missed it, we're giving away an alien Romulus face hugger. There's a link in the chat. Find that link, enter in to win. I know we got a few entries that came in while we were streaming. And then also, if you're in the South Texas area, the Rio Grande Valley area, we're going to be celebrating the release of Beetlejuice early with a screening of the 1988 film featuring Michael Keaton, Alec Baldwin, Gina Davis, and it's going to be a good time. Lots of giveaways and merchandise from the movie. Thank you to Warner Brothers Studios for getting us involved. It's pretty awesome. So shout out to them. That'll do it from us. Next week, we'll be talking about Alien Romulus. We're going to review it. Be sure to check back. We want to hear what you guys think. Do not miss it. I'm telling you, if you're a horror fan, if you're an Alien fan, Aliens franchise fan, or you just love sci-fi, go watch the film. We were not only in attendance for the panel, but we saw three separate clips from the movie that featured very brutal death scenes, and it was spot on, everything you've ever wanted from a sequel in the Aliens franchise. So this weekend, get a babysitter. Don't take the kids. Get a babysitter. Take a friend. Just go by yourself if you want to, and go check out Alien Romulus. Fede Alvarez and the entire cast. It's, I can't wait to see it. It's one of my most anticipated films of this year. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. All right. That'll do it for us. For the Countdown to the Geeks, my name is Ted, aka Steady, and joining me on this week's live stream from the Star Wars Stuff podcast, David, the Lord of Hall H.
You're getting sleepy, unless you're already asleep.
I know I am. I'm on like 5 hours of sleep right now.
Yeah.
All right. Take it easy, everybody. Have a great night. We'll see you next time. Peace.
Peace out.